You're listening to Spin It, a spin on digital marketing. We are spinning the discussion about everything web, graphics, digital marketing, and much more. And we're here to help get your business's online presence back on track. Join the team as we spin it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Spin It podcast. It's been a minute.
Just a little bit.
I looked today and it's been like 5 weeks since we did a podcast. We really dropped the ball on this one.
It's been a little crazy for us.
Hey, but for those of you who are watching on video, if you look around, we're in a different space today. We now have a real legitimate podcast studio.
Yeah, before we were just in a little tiny closet.
Yeah, it was pretty much a closet. And now we have a legit studio. I think it turned out great.
Oh, yeah.
We have been working on this. So we started it last week. It was 2 weeks ago we did this room, and I started working on a Monday. And on Thursday, I finished putting the room together. We got the foam tiles on the wall to help it sound nice. Got a new table. Got another mic set up. Got some pretty good chairs. And
on air.
Yes. I don't know if you can see it because of just the position of the camera. We got this fancy on-air light over there in purple because, Spin Market and all that. And, yeah. So, and of course, we have our artwork on the wall, some of the things we've done. Got my magazine over there, some of Mackenzie's photos, her Coca-Cola. That was an art show piece, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
From last year's art show. I remember when you did that.
Yeah, that was for another class. That was kind of an accidental piece. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how to explain it.
Then we got, that is from Abby. I don't know when she did that, but she did the facial piece there.
What Caleb calls the green face.
Yeah, that's my nickname for when we were decorating the office. I had these like labels to label each one about what we were going to put where, and that was called green face. And then we have our very own Iowa Central Triton Marching Band's logo that Mackenzie did last year.
This year, technically. Well, technically last year this year too. So
it's last year because currently my portfolio class is doing that project right now.
Oh, really?
Yep, we're doing the Triton Marching Band logo project.
That's funny.
Yeah, we started that last week. We're working on it. I don't have any concepts yet. Let's just say I've been a little behind on other classwork, so that's not been my top priority. You didn't hear that, Jake.
See, the first year I was in marching band because that's how I got into doing that logo. Our t-shirt design that we had, it was a dinosaur because I think it was Jurassic Park theme is what we had or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But it was a dinosaur on the back, but it was all made out of instruments.
Gotcha.
So it was fun stuff. Jeremy's pretty cool with coming up with random ideas. He has some pretty crazy ideas.
Yeah. So we're supposed to work on that this week. I think it's due on the 28th. So we have a while to work on it because right now we've got in portfolio. Side note, just so y'all know, I've got 1 month of school left, 4 weeks technically. And we've got our semester-long project, Triton Marching Band, and our portfolio sites. That's all we've got left. It's pretty crazy.
It's crazy, but it stresses you out towards the last part. You got to make sure you get on top of it.
I'm honestly past the stress point for me because we just got done with our church conference, and I put in a lot of hours on that. And I had to stay up on school, and I didn't do a very good job. So I caught up on school this past week. I'm finally caught up on school. All I've got left is finals. I don't have this conference over my head anymore, and I'm like, okay, we're good now. I'm passing all my classes still. Everything's good. We're gonna make it to the end. So, So welcome to the new studio. We haven't picked a name for it yet, but
studio.
Yeah, welcome to the studio. We'll give you a real name for it eventually. I watch this podcast or listen to technically, and they have the Bojangles studio. They're in the South. We got to come up with something. We got to find hey, if you want to sponsor the Spin Market Studio, because that's what it is. Bojangles sponsored their studio. If you want to
Okay.
sponsor the Spin Market Studio, we will give you. We'll maybe you can get naming rights to it for like, I don't know. If you want to get the name on the studio, you got to pay some good money.
Yeah, we'll talk to Cheryl. She'll get you a price.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we've been really busy around here.
It's been pretty crazy. I mean, that's part of the reason why we haven't been able to record. We've been running around. I feel like I've been running around crazy. And then
Yeah,
the weeks that I have like a little bit of time, I had a really bad cold and there's no way we were going to be speaking.
yeah. So yeah, I know I just finished a project with Dr. Gilbaugh, the founder of the Kalos Business Group, one of our clients. I just finished his website. He's got a new book out, so we got the online ordering finished. I got all the notifications for him squared away yesterday. And yeah, he's also got his coaching sections on there, got that set up. People can book appointments on there with him now. So that was good. And between the videos and the website, I probably put in like 100 hours in the last 3 months on that. That's just been my big project. And it might be more than that. I don't really know. But that's been my big thing. And so we're finally kind of rounding the corner on that. And we got the setup done. Now we start blasting and hopefully bringing in revenue for him. So
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy for me. I feel like I've had a lot of projects, but also my brain just can't come up with anything. But some of the ones that I can think of, we are doing a giant entrepreneurial, which I suck at saying that word, conference for Main Street Fort Dodge, and they came up with the word Ignite. So I redid all of their logo for it, which looks like a little matchstick for the eye, and have been working on the whole branding concept for Ignite is what it's called. So that's been a big project.
We're still wrapping up CFG, Central Financial Group. That's been one that's been ongoing for a while. We've launched the website now.
Yeah, the website is live, websites technically. It's multiple websites in one. Anyway, so then we just did a podcast for them.
Yes, and part of the reason we got a real studio was because, if we were going to bring in clients, we didn't want to stick them in a closet. So we turned what we were thinking about making, like either a creative space or a office, we turned it into a studio. And I think it turned out great.
We'll just turn our closet into our little creative space.
Yeah, so Central Financial, How to Money with Cole and Cole. I'll give them a little shout out because they gave us shout outs in there. So we'll tell you about the ones we're doing with them. Their first episode came out on April 5th, I believe it was. And then their next, they'll be every 2 weeks, I believe is what we're going to be doing. But I'm super excited about that. I get to kind of do the podcasting for anybody who's a part of our group that does podcasts
kind of like
through
the
us.
moderator.
Yeah.
Is what we'll call him.
So that's been fun. Editing was probably the hardest part about it. The first day we were there for about 3 hours sitting, recording intros, outros. We did 2 episodes. So I think our next session with them is coming up here in about a week. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. And it's fun to get to have people come in and see just all the work we've done. Of course, the remodel's now finished. We got the flooring finished completely. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to finally have people come and see all the hard work we've done, because it took a long time. But now that it's done, it looks super nice, and we've gotten nothing but compliments from it. So
yeah, if you need something from us, come see us. Because we have a nice office now.
Yeah, why not? Come check it out.
Yeah. Hey, we're talking podcast. If you want to do a podcast through us, now I will say this, not every business needs a podcast. But if your business falls underneath the podcast and you don't want to do all the work and you just want to come in, record, and then leave it alone, we can do it for you. I can work on it. It's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed doing it. I've learned a lot. And I'm ready to help as many people as I can with all the podcasting.
So on this week's episode, we're talking about
websites. Sorry, I had to do that. I've been wanting to use our sound effects for since we started doing this. Finally get to do it. I think we're in episode 6. So actually, funny enough, just a quick insert. Sorry, I know we're trying to talk about websites, but I almost got to use a sound effect during the CFG one. I almost got to use my favorite button because he like did it. And I was like, wait. It was funny, but he did it before we started recording, so it was fine.
Oh gosh.
Anyway,
so
talking about websites.
Are talking about websites.
Yes.
So I'm titling this because I think it's funny. Not all websites are created equal.
Yes.
And
all humans are, but not all websites are.
Okay. Anyways, so going back to that, when it comes to websites, not every website fits your business. So every website kind of is based off of, has its own purpose. So there's many different types of websites. A few of them that we generally use are landing pages, which are pretty much a one-page website that displays all the information right there. Sometimes it's usually to say, hey, this is coming soon. Or, maybe there's an event that that it's coming up and you need to advertise for it. It's not going to need a lot of information. So you're definitely going to focus more on one page. So that's where landing pages definitely come in handy.
I just had a website that I changed from a landing page to an actual website because, like you said, coming soon, he was like, well, I need a website, but at that point, we didn't really have much content. Now we've got the content and we know what his business direction is, and so we actually turned it into a real website.
Yeah, so definitely if you, even if you're starting out with a website, a landing page is a good way to go. I mean, it's simple. It gets your point across, gets the information on, and then as your business evolves and grows, you can add more pages and continue to change your website to your business. Let your website grow with your business, I guess.
The second type is a business website. Spin Market's website is a business website. Like if you go on there, there's information about, on a business website, usually there is the homepage, there's the about page, which is, and there might be a sub page under about, might be our team. I know on Spin Markets, that's what it is. We got pictures of all of our employees at Spin Market. There might be a contact page. There might be for Spin Market, there's one that's portfolio, see some of our work. There is maybe a blog page, different things on there. Our podcast is linked to our website, stuff that would apply to your business. So like, okay, a woodworking business might have pictures of their work.
And definitely also contact pages. I don't know if you said that.
I did.
Okay, I thought I missed it, so we're just going to put that one in there.
if it's a business that sells a product, which just kind of goes into our next one. Our next type would be e-commerce. You can have a business and an e-commerce site mixed together. An e-commerce site, you only sell stuff, but maybe you're a business that you sell stuff, but you want to have all this other information. You have a page that's an e-commerce page. So business websites are very versatile.
Yeah, some of that could be, I think about this is one that I've looked at recently. There's a t-shirt company that, they do they do printing services and other stuff, but they also have pages for their clients that sells whatever product they've already made for this specific event or whatever it is that's coming up. So they're also a business, but they also have the e-commerce involved in it. So I feel like business can also be, it's kind of like the generic thing, but there's also sub things that can be added to it, like the e-commerce.
Informational.
And the next one that we're talking about that can be added is personal websites. So one thing underneath that is blogs. We do blogs. It's actually not necessarily for people to actually read, which kind of confuses people because you think, why would I want to blog on my website if nobody's going to read it? But the big but it is very important, and the reason is because it can improve your SEO and put you up on the top. First
listeners, search engine optimization is SEO.
Yes. So, and that's a big thing of what we focus on here is improving our clients' SEOs so that way they can be number one on the first page of Google.
Yep. We do everything we can to get you to the top.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I don't read a blog. Yeah, you're right. You shouldn't like most people don't read a blog.
Yeah.
So why should I write it? Because it helps.
Yeah. And I mean, we have clients that are, fencing companies that are people really going to put in the time to read, here's how you maintain your fence? Most likely you might already know it, but for the people that let's say they're looking up maintaining a fence, and we have with the blogs, it's SEO'd in there, and we use specific keywords throughout the blog. So that way, when you're looking up fence maintenance and they see that you're within a certain distance from, I don't know, from Fort Dodge, we'll just go that. It'll pop up with our blog, the blog to the website. And then so that way, hopefully they'll click on your website. You can actually be the one to help them, and they'll actually be looking at your website.
Yep.
It all works together. It all makes sense.
So really, and underneath personal, we had written down portfolios. That would be for us to show our work. But really, if you think about it, every website is different, but it's not like a set in stone. If I have a portfolio website, I can only have this, this, and this. If I have a business website, I can only have this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. Like we said, not your website. Not every website has the same purpose, and not every website that is for your purpose is going to fit exactly the way according to this mold. There's different parts of each one. A landing page is mostly used for event information, but maybe you have an event, you already have your business event, but instead of having a landing page, you just have a page on your normal website. So that's one of those things where it's yes, there's these categories, but really they all work together, and each website just needs to fit your needs more than anything.
Yeah, and there's definitely more categories than what we have listed.
Yeah, we looked up a list beforehand, and there was 13 different options.
These are the ones that we see a lot of.
Yeah,
I especially have seen quite a few of these in multiple occasions, and I think the big thing about it is that generally everybody has a business website, and adding on to that, there's just multiple sub websites, what is a website type of thing, like your blogs, like your e-commerce and all that stuff that all come together into your website. So that's the kind of the cool thing about with websites is that you can tailor it to what your business is. And yeah, the whole thing with kind of with the blogs is that not everything, or not the blogs, excuse me, the podcast is not everything. Not every business needs a podcast. And that's kind of the same thing with websites is not every website needs a specific thing that maybe another website has. It all is dependent on what your business is.
Yeah. And I would completely agree with that, because if you try to fit the mold, it won't fit. It's like putting a circle in a square hole, or I guess it would be putting a square in a circle hole, because technically you can put a circle in a square hole if it's the right size. Anyway, you get my point. Is you can think, oh, this is the mold, but if I'm not molded to fit the hole, then it's not going to fit. Mm-hmm. You have to make what fits your business, your website.
Yeah. And so some part of that is how your website looks. That's a big thing for websites is there needs to be some type of uniformity in your website. I'm going to use that word. And that kind of sounds a little bit very plain when uniformity sounds but that's not what I mean. What I mean is that, maybe the colors of your logo are blue and red, and using those colors throughout your website, that's the uniformity. It kind of tailors everything together. So that way they're not going from one page that's red to the next page that's green. And they have no idea. It's almost like they're on 5 different websites throughout the whole website.
And I would agree with that. The one other thing I would say about the color thing is you want to make it your own. Make your colors match your logo, but make your logo stand out. Make yourself be different than everybody else without being ridiculous and having this ugly setup. Because I've seen some ones that's yep, they make you look different, but I'm I'm not doing that. Stand out in a good way. Mm-hmm. I had somebody ask me one time about a website, and they're like, oh, I really like your website, this website you did, and can we use that as a template? And in my head, I'm like, yes, but no. Mm-hmm. Yes, we can use this as a template, and I could change the text, and you could take it and it'd be yours, but it's not yours then. Be your own website.
Yeah. And something that goes right along with colors is your fonts. I'm very what my mom calls a font snob. I have like 500 different fonts, and I maybe use like five of them for some specific things, I guess I should say. But I'm very picky about my fonts, and that's what you should be on a website. What we as a graphic designer, what we go with is three fonts or less.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that you need three.
Actually, with websites, I usually almost go two.
I try to stick to more two. So like I have my header, and then if I have like a subhead, maybe it's the same font as my header, but it's just not as big or it's not bolded, whatever it is. And then you have your normal plain text. And usually the plain text can be a more simpler font depending on what your website is. I know some places, they do like maybe a scripty font for their header. And then you do your normal text. You're not going to want that in script. You want it easily readable. And so generally you go with more of a sans serif font.
I'm going to say you just mentioned the script thing. Don't ever do paragraph script on a website.
Oh gosh, no.
Ever. Like you can do them as headers and stuff and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Never do script paragraphs on a website, on a graphic design project, any of that. It does not work. And it looks like script is hard enough to read as it is. You don't want to make someone sit there and try to read through 2 paragraphs of script. They're not going to.
Yeah. And another thing that goes with it, this is just a small little tip that always drove me nuts in classes, because especially freshmen, they come in and this is like one
I'm
of
sure she's talking about me.
I'm definitely talking about him. The first thing that they do is they capitalize a script font. It is one of the rules that you just never do it.
Yeah, never do all caps of the script font.
In no way, shape, or form can you make that look good.
No.
So that's just a small little tidbit. Totally, I hope you guys have figured that out yet.
It's like, take it or leave it. I hope you take it.
Yeah. So other parts of the website, you have your layout, the way that your client is going to read your information. You don't want to, they open up the page and right there is our team.
Yeah.
Just to throw out a random one. You need to have some kind of hierarchy when it comes to your content. So definitely what I would say is for like your top 2 that people should see is maybe your logo with maybe your catchphrase. And then like any major important things, like maybe a button that like, cause I know like for some fence companies, they're like, hey, get an estimate right here. So that way, if people are going right to your site, they can see it right then and there.
I'll use Spin Market's website as an example. I just pulled it up here, talking about a way to lay it out. So you open spinmarket.com and up at the top, you've got your nav bar, and on the left side, you got your logo. And underneath, the first thing you see is put a new digital spin on your business in big font. Then underneath, it's a two-sentence synopsis of Spin Market in small text. Then a learn more button. Mm-hmm. That is, when someone clicks on me, if I'm going to click on a website and then click right off, well, then they got this is what they are.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
And definitely I guess what I think about is the psychology of people. For instance, like people look at somebody and within the first 5 seconds or first 0.5 seconds, they've already judged you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of the thing I think about with websites is your first thing that they see, they have already judged you. They have already put in, maybe your website's old, and their first thing that they're going to think is, do I trust this website? Or is this website or is this business, is it too old fashioned depending on what your business is, whatever it might be. So that's kind of what I think about is what are my clients? What are the people that are going to be looking at the website? What is the first thing that they're going to see? And how can I draw them in right away to keep looking?
And you mentioned something with, which is kind of what we're talking about, is how do I draw them in layout, in page order, but also even more than layout page order, I would say is layout, just your design. The first website I did that I revamped was for our church. And at the time, it was basically a white square box with all of the information with a wheat background on the outside. And it looked very ancient and archaic. I know that word means very old. And when you look at the website, you're like, oh, this church looks out of date. Well, now when you go on there, it looks modern and up to date and everything. So even more, like there's more to it than just your layout of what information you have first, but how do you have your information put on there in a way that it's readable, it's understandable, it's bright, cheery, exciting, clean.
Yeah.
You know, not that I lived there, but it seems like the older generation kind of lived on this more like, okay, when I think of like the hippies and stuff, is kind of like more like meh and whimsical and whatever. Whereas now it's like everything has the move in like house setup is open, clean, simple. And in a website, you almost want that. Not too simple, but open, clean, like just quick, nice. And it I don't know if that makes any sense or not to the listeners, but to me, that's how my brain works, is like, what is the movement of everyone's brain is what looks good now.
Yeah.
You want to keep up with the trends.
Yeah. And some part of that, when you said clean, it made me think of pictures, which was our next topic. Your pictures need to be clean.
Yes.
They need to be high quality. They need to look sharp. I have one client that had like, I swear, over like 5,000 images, it seemed like. That might be definitely an over exaggeration, but you get the point. They had a lot of pictures. And there's a couple things that were wrong with it. One of them being they were very low quality. Some of them were taken on their phone. Some of them were in portrait. So what that means is that their phone was pointed straight up and down instead of
taller than it was wider.
Thank you. And so that doesn't really work for pictures on a website. Again, another part of that was it wasn't good quality. But then another side of that is the stuff in the pictures, it wasn't that great. And that's very difficult. But and then the final thing I'll say is they had so many pictures that I knew instantly it was gonna slow down their website. Because all those files gathering up in your website, it's going to take every client, every person that's going to be on your website, it's going to take so much longer for it to open up, which now in today's world where we are in instant gratification, you need to be boom, and it's live, like boom, it's right up and going.
I'll put this in a simple way, is I was actually listening to, believe it or not, I was listening to a racing thing today, and it kind of fits this thing. Is somebody said the races need to be shorter because younger people's attention span is shorter. And it's like, okay, you just stereotyped them, yes. But the logic of, and then I was listening to somebody, he goes, and I don't totally agree with them, but I do understand it's maybe not that their attention span is shorter, but that there's so many ways to bring in content now. Like he was talking about how in the 70s and 80s, races being long was fine because there wasn't really a lot of like other entertainment, whereas now there's streaming services, every sports event, social media, and there's lots of types of social media, and if your website's not going to, it's the same kind of concept of if your website's not going to load, well, I've got all these other websites to go look at. I can just go look at a different one.
Yeah, and I want to say it's at least at the max 5 seconds.
Oh yeah.
To load, and that's like literally, I think, at the max. So definitely pick your pictures and be very be picky about your pictures.
Yes. You don't need a ton of pictures, but then make sure they're good pictures.
Yeah, definitely. And then you have your icons that you use, which I think kind of tailors to pictures. They kind of need to be uniform. For one of our websites that we're doing, We're doing a lot of different icons that lead them to other areas so they can learn more information about the services that this company provides. And with the icons, I've been working really hard on making sure that they all look uniform in the smallest little detail. Like the one part, it literally is like a shield, and it's next to whatever the icon is that describes what it actually is. And that shield needs to make sure that if it's used in another one, it is the exact same. So I think definitely with icons, they need to be uniform. They need to look the same. So whether that is maybe they're filled or maybe they're just an outline, the way that you go about doing that needs to be uniform.
And this match part, like you were saying, it goes back to pictures. Well, it goes back even further. It goes back to layout.
Mm-hmm.
Everything should look the same and have the same feel.
Yeah, definitely.
And, one of the things it's kind of talking about, and this is just a tip with icons and pictures both, is so if you're like, you don't understand how to make, one way you can save space on your website loading speed, because basically the reason a website loads slow is because there's too much content, too many pixels, the file sizes are too big. So one thing you can do is one thing you can do with a website is normally pictures that you use in graphic design are 300 ppi, pixels per square inch. Well, on a website, you can get away with 72 ppi, so pixels per square inch. So that's almost like a quarter of the file size? It's a quarter of the file size of what you use in graphic design. Well, that will help do it, load it so much faster. So you can check this stuff in like Photoshop, and I'm sure there's an app on your phone, I would guess. Mm-hmm. They have an app for everything now. And so make sure your images are, if you have them at 72 ppi, it'll still look good, but it'll save your file size and help that load speed. And you can do that with your icons, your pictures, anything like that. All right, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. This is a two-part series about websites.
And today we talked about more of the design side behind things, behind websites, I guess. But we're going to go into more depth about mainly the backside of websites. So we're going to focus on your SEOs and what that is and how they can affect how having good SEO can really benefit you as a business. And also we're going to talk about making it accessible to everyone. And so sometimes people with visually impairment, they need specific needs catered towards them for the website, and how that's important and why you should, be more accessible to them.
We're also going to talk about website domains and what is a website domain. A lot of people don't know that. I had a conversation with somebody this week, and they didn't really know what a domain was, so I had to explain it to them. And so we're going to explain what that is and how to decide what your web domain should be. We're going to talk about stuff like mobile optimization, setting your site up for a phone. How do you do that? Why do you do that? Things like that, making sure all your links work, the importance of some of the stuff that people don't really think about when they look at a website, when they get to the website. A lot of stuff is it's tips to get you to the website, tips to make your website smoother, better, etc. So I hope you all will tune in next time. I know that it's going to be a very helpful episode, I think. And I hope that you all learned something today, and I know you'll learn something next week. So, Mackenzie, maybe go ahead and refresh them. Where can they find you on social media?
So you can find me specifically at swankyartistry. Just Swanky Artistry, excuse me. On Instagram and Facebook, and on LinkedIn, I am just Mackenzie Swanky. But you can find all that information too on our website, which is spinmarket.com, and that's with 2 Ks. I know that we keep saying that, but we're going to keep doing that again. But it also has all of our portfolios. So if you want to check us out and see our portfolio websites, it's all on our website.
Yep. And my social media is cj9.design, Instagram and Facebook. My LinkedIn is Caleb Westall. I don't have much posted on LinkedIn yet. I'm just starting up with that. Cheryl told us this week that we got to work on that. So I'm going to work on that. And then again, my portfolio is linked to our website, www.spinmarket with 2Ks.com. Yeah, so I hope you all join us next time. Thanks for being a part of the Spin It podcast this week.
Thanks for listening to the Spin It podcast.
Make sure you check out our brand new website at www.spinmarket.com. That's www.spinmarket.com.
And follow us on social media at Spin Market to keep up to date with all that's happening.
If you'd like to sponsor an episode of the Spin It podcast, fill out the form on our website, www.spinmarket.com.
And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channels so you never miss an episode.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Spin It.